we're gonna start with why I'm wearing this freaking awesome headband.
Well, why
That's
is that,
Cobra
Al?
Kai. We meant to film Cobra Kai a while ago, and we haven't. We finished it a while ago. We finished it so long ago. I mean, Kyle texted me something. I don't even remember what we were talking about before, but I was like, "Hey, have you watched Cobra Kai yet?" Because I just finished it. It was like 2 weeks ago, well, maybe longer. And Kyle was like, "Cobra Kai dropped?" Yes, it did. And I finished. And he's like, "I didn't even know it was out." He was on vacation, too busy. But we
Not just
finally saw it.
vacation. Not just vacation. Netflix is terrible with marketing. Cobra Kai's become such an awesome show for them, and those guys don't know how to market the thing. Never saw a clip or trailer or any sort of news anywhere. And I'm
Everything
like
you're
one
saying,
of the diehards watching this thing.
well,
Like, what's going on, Netflix? Come on.
one, we all know they're marketing it on cable. Two, everything you said is completely true. Completely true. But
Thank you.
three, it is 98% you were on vacation and you are just off in La La Land. Stop trying to blame other people for the fact that you don't know what's going on.
I still
Come
check
on
Twitter.
now. But we openly talked about it in a chat that you read.
Red
Yeah,
being
read
the
it. Anyway,
skin.
um we actually meant to film this last week. We didn't get a chance to because we were going to film it on last week's podcast and then clip it out. But we had my brother Annie Essays was on, and we talked about the IGN list, the top 25 anime series of all time they came out with, and it ended up taking the whole show. We thought it might only go for half the segment, maybe part of it, and then we touch on Cobra Kai, and it just didn't happen. So we're here now. But Kyle, what'd you think of this season of Cobra Kai?
I very much enjoy this show still, because it keeps surprising me with the correlations between right from wrong, who was a good guy versus who was a bad guy, and there just keeps on having these parallels that I find enjoyable. And then they're doing good stuff with the characters too. I mean, um, for one thing, they're just moving the show along and still having the characters kind of start to really work together a lot more than we've seen in seasons past. Like there finally is starting to be some growth and some maturity on both sides. Lessons are being learned from um most of the characters from what I was seeing. And I also really like the fact that especially with the teens, the very young cast that of characters that we're following, they're kind of introducing how teenagers handle stuff like breakups and going through tough times at home and whatnot, but they do it in a way that feels mature, like it's a showing for younger viewers on how to handle these stresses, handle these hard times with a bit of maturity and with a bit of level-headedness rather than other shows that we've seen in the past. I mean, I remember growing up not really having those types of shows that really laid on those mature aspects on how to handle a breakup with some respect and not act like the sky is falling or point fingers about who was right and wrong. And those were the types of things that I really respect out of the show, and particularly with this season. I just kind of had that realization as I was watching. It was like, yeah, I mean, there's still like the drama aspects of it all, but I thought it was doing a good job with handling those types of emotions and themes and not having to be all about like acting like the sky is falling. Like there was some maturity handled with it, and I think it's good lessons for younger audiences. And that was kind of my big takeaway from this show, anyway. But as well as like the action stuff, they do a really good job with that too. And that's kind of my basic laydown of it. What do you have to add?
Kyle, go watch Degrassi, The Next Generation, if you want to know how to handle a breakup. God dang it, you watched nothing but Cartoon Network growing up. What are you talking about? You my guy. You got it. What? What? You weren't watching those shows growing up. They were there. They were right there. Come on.
A few.
They were right there. I mean,
Few.
yes, Cobra Kai does a good job of handling that. They do a great job of sprinkling just enough CW crap that you love it, but it actually is a better show than almost anything the
Yeah.
CW's ever put out. I
Yeah.
wager better than everything. Cobra Kai, I
Yeah.
can't believe I didn't put on my top 10 shows of all time. I moved it up to number 3 immediately. 5 seasons in, it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. It's able to handle this season again handles the legacy the right way. It just does. It's fantastic. I love what they do with all the characters that they teased from season 4 that we're teaming up now with. I believe his name is Chosen, right? From Karate Kid 2. He's
Mhm.
fantastic in this season. Not only does he have some of the best humor moments, but he gets some really serious moments that I really, really loved, and great fighting. I
Yeah.
love what they have done with Johnny Silver and making him the big bad guy while also, you know, Kreese is coming back in. I love it. I love what they've done. I thought they amped up the violence at times. They amped up some of the seriousness, and I actually felt that this season they took a break from the kids a little bit. And I mean, obviously the kids are there; they're in every episode, but I felt this was more focused on on Daniel
Yeah.
and on Johnny, and I loved the progression they're going. I loved everything about it. It makes me want to rewatch the trilogy and the show all over again. Max, I know you're pumped, but I I think this show is fantastic. I think they have made this show so good that their silly little CW moments now hit like a silly anime does. Like you love it.
Yeah.
You're sitting there like, man, this is an awesome moment. They have that moment at the end of the season, like 2 episodes, where our boys like protect the egg, and I literally got chills. I was like, protect the freaking egg while they're downloading things. Are you kidding me? Come on, take them out. There's like adults in there fighting kids. I love this show. It's just one of the best shows I've ever seen. They're able to handle nostalgia so well while moving the story forward. If they're making a Karate Kid movie and you don't bring in this crew, you've made the biggest mistake of your life. I'm telling you that right now. It's not how you make money. You need to make money by bringing in this crew from Netflix. This this show's awesome. I love everything. I love that his wife, Daniel's wife, is like goes from like they finally have the moment that where she's like kind of, we talked about this a lot before with other teenage shows, so the parents always seem oblivious, and the mom in this show and the way they've written her has always been great because she's always been like, look, this is ridiculous, like we're having karate fights in the street, like she's us, and she's like, but now in this season it hits it on the head, and they actually have serious episodes and moments of them not being together, and her being like, this is insane, and then she gets a little badass moment, and everybody just comes back together, and you're like, you're even the characters are like, this is the way things are now. And I love it. I love the show. I love that we're ending where we're going to be going overseas, amp the budget up, bring in some heavy fighters from all over the world. Are you kidding me? I love what they're doing with this tournament idea. I think it's fantastic. Can the show be a bit predictable? Did we know that they were both going to get the spot in the tournament? Absolutely. But I still love it because the characters are so well crafted by the time you're in season 5 that even though I know it doesn't matter who wins the fights to get into the tournament, they'll both get in. I'm still rooting for my favorite characters, which is Sam. Anyway, continue. And Daniel,
I,
obviously, and Johnny.
I do want to say, Sam, I like that they're finally making her not in a relationship, that they're finally like, oh yeah, she's kind of been in this love triangle for way too long. Let's at least let her have time to breathe to figure
Welcome to
out
high school.
if she wants to do this karate stuff to begin with. I appreciate that. And also appreciate what Daniel was going through with his relationship and going to such
Mm-hmm.
extremes to the
Mm-hmm.
point where he was kind of in Johnny's shoes of like kind of at a loss in life, and Johnny was the one being like, yo, if I'm the one in the stable relationship, what, something is going wrong here. Like what is, you, talk to me, let's grab a beer, let's talk to me, what's going on. And I was really appreciative of that, and I was also appreciative of the relationship between Miguel and Robbie
Love it.
being able to finally mend those fences, and it worked for me. I do kind of wish we saw a bit more of the traveling back from Mexico, and the Mexico side plot also ended up being really good. I was glad they stuck the landing there, but I wanted to see a bit more of that dynamic from the Mexico trip all the way back to where they're living at, and I thought there could have been something there, but they still stuck the landing with mending the fences and having them work as a team finally. What's the villain's name again? I'm spacing on his name now. Silver?
Yeah.
Yeah. he he has a villain lair, and it's the most
It's
hilarious
awesome.
thing.
It's
It's
awesome.
the most hilarious, like, 80s nostalgia thing to me. Um, at times, it
It's
kind
awesome.
of seeing it so many times kind of was taking me out of the show a little. Like, I know it has, like, its goofy moments, but for some reason, the villain lair, while it was funny at first, like, I just kept seeing it, and I was like, "Man, this might be getting a little goofy even for me," but, I can't deny, like, what you were saying, that they do a great job with characters and nostalgia and raising the stakes and doing good with the legacy that this, series of movies has come with.
But it also makes sense because you think of just a lot of guys when they've gone over to war come back and it's not they make a villain lair, but they have an area that, man cave style of this is, my life. This is what I went through. He's a collector, he's rich. That's what they do. So it's not like it's also out of the blue of who the character is. Like it's true to the
No,
character. And yes, they do frame it as a little villain lair, but it's awesome. It's James Bond villain-esque. It's great. It's great. It's great. The
I just
show is
don't
fantastic.
I get what you're saying, but it's the James Bond Karate Kid mashing together where I'm like, "Is that a puzzle piece that quite fits together?" But
It does fantastically. This
alright,
is a puzzle that just keeps on growing and being better and better every second of every day. It's awesome.
as
I
puzzles
I
do.
look, I've watched so many CW shows and they all stink. They all
Yeah,
stink and they can't
yeah.
handle how you stay true to not only the characters of the past but just the characters you're writing and creating and you're moving forward and they do a fantastic job. I hope they never get tired of living in the Karate Kid world. And they stick around for 10 seasons. Let these kids grow up and let's just keep going. Let them have their own kids. Miyagi Do never dies, baby. I love it. I love it. The
Okay.
show's fantastic. Okay, come on. You get 10 seasons of this, all great. You're going to love it. Best show ever.
I just am
Breaking
shocked
Bad,
we're
look out.
at I just am shocked still that we're at season 5. Like, it's great. It's hard for shows to keep going for that long, and I hope, like, it doesn't keep jumping the gun and a good thing becomes a bad thing over time, but I'm still am shocked that this is a 5-season show. Like, I thought it would end at, like, 3,
I can't
maybe,
believe it's
but
5 seasons and the kids still look like they could actually pass in high school. That's what I'm
yeah,
surprised about.
I think most of them were about 16 when they started off, so they cast them young, but they're doing
They
a great
did.
job.